Alright guys, there's a fair bit to unpack from last night actually, so I'm just going to go through what I read and what I'm reading into it, so it might be easier to do it that way. So first up we had the ECB raised rates by 75 basis points, but Lagarde did not really convince the market as she was all in. Might be several meetings that they're looking at, and the three doves only wanted to raise by 50 basis points. Progress meant to imply slower hiking. In other words, there could be 75 basis point hikes as well. So the market was saw that as pretty much dovish, and if we go and have a look at the euro dollar, we can see that on a 5-minute chart that it whipped around a bit, but has finished lower and is back below parity. I don't necessarily think that the market's now back on the downtrend for the euro. I think that we're still in this kind of little channel and would look for a buying opportunity down here somewhere. But obviously we wait for the market to turn rather than just buy on a whim, but it'd be somewhere around there that we're looking at. If we break that down to a 4-hour, we have a look at some fib levels somewhere in there as a retracement of this move, or if you want to go off the current uptrend, which would be this one, it brings our 50 right in line with our low over here and a bit of a resistance level. So that's where I'd be looking to potentially buy the euro, somewhere in here. And we bring that back to a daily, and that's our sort of buying spot. So there was that. Then, well, just after market, there's this Amazon falling 20%. After already being down 4% during regular trading. So down here from 111 to 89, big drop. We're trading at 120. So tech stocks were getting crushed already, and then we've had that. But there was even more to talk about, nukes and pukes, right? So Putin and the Pentagon in earnings panic. So ECB raised dovish language, sent bunds lower, and if we're going to have a look at interest rates, we're all sort of starting to peel off as the expectations is that the interest rates are starting to slow down, and there's the German bunds and the British gilts, even the Aussie caught up in the selling of the yield. So yeah, bit of fun over in commodities. It was all pretty quiet, considering you have a look at that index. Not much moved there at all. Copper sideways, oil pretty much sideways, gold sideways, iron ore sideways, wheat sideways, natural gas up a little bit. So not much happening in the commodity world. But still, let's go through and unpack this. This is from Zero Hedge. Euro dollar back below. US stocks gained some ground but tumbled on the cash open, then ripped higher as the Democrats said stop raising interest rates. That rally lasted 45 minutes, which is what they highlight there. And then Putin's address and the nuke threat started from Washington. Right? Russia's acute threat to US values won't rule out nuclear use against non-nuclear threats. So they'll be preempting with nuclear strikes, and the defense strategy is shunning limits on the nuclear use, which was embraced by Biden. Nasdaq's monkey hammered 2%, S&P closed, Dow managed some gains. The call demand, which is the right to sell, call is the right to buy, continues to dominate the put demand, which is the right to sell. So sell protection against a falling market is weaker than the protection of an upside swing. And we have a look at VIX, which is the fear indicator. VIX is the basically the net figure of all the puts and all the calls, and VIX has been coming off, right? So when VIX goes this direction, the right to sell puts heavier than calls against the, that sort of protection of downside move. But it's been going this, so it's a protection against an upside move, which is kind of crazy. As we can see, Nasdaq had a terrible day. S&P also pretty bad. Was China also another leg down as well. So stocks are having a rough trot. Is it over? Yeah, hard to tell. Let's come back and read some more. VIX was flat, as we noted. Meta was clubbed, was down 24%, its second worst day ever. It's down 75% from the highs. That's a big move. FANGs, which is Facebook, Alphabet, Amazon, sorry, Netflix and Google, all sort of back down to those levels. Google, Microsoft and Meta prompted the biggest two-day outperformance of the, it's just something worth noting at. Nasdaq for the month is up 2%, but Dow is up 12%. Interesting. Then we come into where rates are going to be, and expectations dive. So expectations of rates going up is going this direction. So the expectation is interest rates will be falling sooner than later. 10-year yields are down 4%, which we noted. BOJ coming out tonight or today in Asian session. They're generally around 2 or 3 p.m. There's no set time, but it's generally around that time. And will they intervene in the currency markets is, I guess, a good question. They'll trade it against the US predominantly, and they defended the 151, they defended 145. Will they try and defend or push it down again? I would say yes, on the back of the performance of the US dollar. Bitcoin drifted lower after having a nice little ramp higher. Yeah, so a lot to unpack really. Durable goods data, oil back above $89, natural gas got smashed. Yeah, a lot to unpack, and where will we go from here? Looking at US dollar, similar to the euro, just in opposite direction. I think that you'll be looking for a sell somewhere in this vicinity. Euro dollar, a buy in that vicinity. Pound, the big resistance here around the 17.5 handle. Hasn't quite got there yet, but it's still making higher lows and higher highs. So until that trend is busted, I would be going that direction. Aussie dollar found resistance here, and I'm happy to be a seller, but more than likely it might be forming another shoulder for an inverse head and shoulder pattern. Wait to see that play out with the commodity market sort of treading water to a little weaker. I've got no reason to be buying Aussie. So that's that to unpack. And then over in stocks, will the Christmas rally even happen with all the threat of nuclear war and inflation and interest rates? Will it actually even happen? Well, that's, I guess, the $1 million question. Interestingly, it tagged that trend line and then reversed. Tagged it beautifully. Is that what we're seeing? So this one's heavier than this uptrend. Fun and games ahead, I guess. And then we've got FOMC next week. So a lot to work with, and a lot to be sort of cautious about. But I wish you all the best. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you next week.